my gosh. I just discovered. All right, did I just discover that I wasn't actually live for the last 5 minutes? If anybody out there, I see that there are some concurrent viewers. If anybody out there in the chat could give me a thumbs up that you see me, and then tell me, has the stream been live? Because I think I might have just discovered that there was an issue, a technical issue. Can anybody tell me, do I have to start over? Are you out there? Anybody? Okay. Let me check. No, I think we're okay. I think I lost all my viewers though. Okay, well, we're just gonna start again. I'm gonna jump right into it with step one. We're gonna start a note from scratch. All right, sorry everybody, these live streams are really complicated, and I only had about 5 minutes to get this one going today, which is just not enough. All right. First thing you're going to do, if you want to start working in your Zettelkasten, that is a template inside Tana, which I have just showed you. You'll have to go back and watch the replay there. Then you just need to put in the super tag, permanent note. That's a great way to start. And all that's going to do is it's just going to give you a blank note, right? See, everything is empty. Absolutely everything. So today, because we're doing a live stream, I just had the idea, why don't we talk a little bit about live streaming? And look, I make no guarantees that these are going to be good notes today, because I'm not really putting enough effort into thinking about it and extending notes. But if I was a streamer and I wanted to do live streaming and I wanted to start to capture some information in my Zettelkasten about live streaming, this is how I would start. I just make a blank permanent note, and then I would come in here and I would, wow, what a disaster. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Let's do it again. I delete this stream after this is done. My goodness. All right, the way we get started right here is we go hashtag and we put in the permanent note. And now what we have is just an empty permanent note, and no need for writer's block. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about streaming, because why not? We're having a really great time streaming here today, aren't we? So the way I get started is I always start in my fleeting notes, because this is fleeting notes in a Zettelkasten are exactly what they say. We're going to elaborate on the meaning in the note, everything I think of, everything I want. Fleeting notes in the traditional Zettelkasten are meant to throw away. Now, we don't have to do that in a digital Zettelkasten. We can keep it because there's no cost associated with that. There's no sticky notes floating around. There's no giant paper notebooks full of stuff. We can keep it all. It's fine. So I'm going to say that streaming is an important and interesting skill for YouTubers. Okay, that's a claim that I've made, and I think that's a decent enough place to start. So then I might start to have some questions, you know, and I might just come up here and I might say, well, what gear do I need to stream on YouTube? Is gear even that important, right? Well, and I said streaming's an important skill, but it's a compound skill. What actual skills do I need to stream? Okay, and then you'll notice I've got this little tag here that pops up. This is again part of the template, but we'll go ahead and use that to tag these as questions, because questions get aggregated in a questions search node that I use all the time, and we'll actually look at that more toward the end here. And then let's come back down and say, okay, well, it's important to be able set up the encoder, right? And You might just have you might have, so what is an encoder? What is a live encoder? Now, this is getting a little basic, so, you know, but it's okay. Just because I put a question here doesn't mean I have to answer the question. We can put as many as we want. Now, we're going to come back to this in a little bit, this AI button here. There's a couple of very interesting ways we can use this for young notes. All right, so streaming on YouTube will help develop watch time. I'm experimenting with that. That's why I'm doing this, even though I'm completely embarrassing myself today. Streaming on YouTube will develop watch time for any YouTube channel. Let's see, what else? Okay, what else? What other statements, whatever ideas might I have? Streaming doesn't have to be expensive. Okay, that's fine. And these don't need to be complete sentences. These don't need to be anything like the final note. These are literally just whatever is in my head. I'm not trying to support these yet with research. I'm not trying to refute or agree with them. I'm just trying to capture my thoughts about an idea I had for a note. And I think we'll just go with that for now. And let's see. There we go. All right, so next, we're going to come and touch on this later. This is kind of more of an advanced thing after you have your note going. So now that we have this fleeting note, what I'll do next is I'll just bring this down and I want to put my note here, my draft note, okay? Again, most of your work, making a new note from scratch, especially if it's your very first note ever, is all going to happen right here in fleeting notes. And again, we don't have to be crazy about it. The key is just to get a first note, because once you have a first note, you can have a second note that's connected to that note. All right, so that's pretty exciting. So let's try to do a draft note. So streaming is important. So if a YouTube creator masters streaming, then they may be able, well, let's not make it conditional. Then they will increase watch time over time if they run regular streams. We're going to prove whether this is true or not on this channel, because I just had my first live stream last week on this channel. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to eat my own dog food here. Regular streams for their audience. There are technical capabilities required, like running streaming encoders, and it depends on the complexity of the end production desired, how complicated that needs to be. I'd say that's okay. So now we're going to actually make the permanent note. So we're going to take this draft note, we're going to come all the way up here, and we're literally just going to paste it in here. Okay? We're not done yet, but that's a good start. Now, I normally, if we're okay with the draft and we don't want to change it, that's fine. But the thing is, YouTube creators, okay, so again, I said I wanted not to have it conditional. So YouTube creators that master streaming, I really like my permanent notes to be concise and not to have too much junk in them, because these are going to be building blocks for future writings, future videos, future podcasts, future questions, all kinds of things. So you kind of want it to be clean, right? So YouTube creators that master streaming will increase watch time over time. I think that doesn't, if they run regular streams for their audience. There are technical capabilities required, like running streaming encoders. Just so you know, today I'm running Wirecast. I can show you, actually. See, this is my Wirecast setup for this stream. So there are technical capabilities required, like running streaming encoders, and it depends on the complexity of the end production that is desired, well, see, that doesn't even matter, of the end production, how complicated that needs to be. Okay? I don't like that. There are technical capabilities required. The complexity of the end production will dictate how complicated that needs to be. Let's go with that. We don't want to spend too long on this. It's already 23 after. So I'm okay with that. That's an okay permanent note. So now we need to, now that I've written that note, we need to come up with an index term that fits. And I'll say, I'm just going to go with YouTube streaming. Okay, now you'll see that this little tag is term popped up. Again, this is a feature of the way that fields work in Tana, but we don't want to use it yet. We actually want to make this an inline reference first. So highlight it and go up here to create YouTube streaming and click Command Enter in that case. Now it's an inline reference. Then we're going to click tag as term. It will turn green unless you have messed with your default colors. And then we put a space there, and we're going to add the reference up here. And this becomes that anchor. For browsing through your Zettelkasten. So YouTube, and there it is, the term we just made. And that is a complete permanent note. It's a very simple one. In this case, I'm saying it's the first permanent note. It's not really, but I'm saying it's the first permanent note I ever made in my system. And we're good. So next thing we want to do is, do we have any relevant notes in the system to this? So I can do kind of a cursory search here by going at stream. Well, it looks like I have a peer-to-peer data streaming note, but that's not really, I know what that is, it's not really relevant. So in fact, in this moment, in this version of a Zettelkasten, this is the first time I've really talked about live streaming. So it is in fact a first note. I have no relevant note to tap it back to. Now I want to show you the way I would actually probably do this is I would go into my actual Zettelkasten and I would clear out any filters and I'll scroll through and I'll try to find, this is a little bit like spaced repetition in a way. I'll scroll through all of my notes and try to find any other notes that I think might be relevant. So again, in this case, I don't think there's any point to doing it because I know, I guess I could connect procrastination to the new note, or the new note to procrastination. Yeah, let's do that just for grins. So if I search here for stream, what it should do is bring up the thing. Oh, I do actually have some notes here that are relevant. That's great. So I came to my Zettelkasten and I put in stream. This one's not going to be relevant. Non-Cloud Studio, this was a note that I wrote, gosh, a long time ago about thinking about the application of DevOps practices to live streaming. And so this is actually a relevant note to my YouTube streaming note. So what I'll do is, it's called Non-Cloud Studio. So I'll go here to the index term. I'll just hit Control-C, and then I'll come down here to YouTube streaming, and I'll type Control-V. And now we have backlinked our new note to an old note. So now if I go to that old note here and I open it, there's the permanent note, Non-Cloud Studio, but let's look at the relevant notes. YouTube streaming just popped up. See, so now, now that brand new note that we've added into our Zettelkasten is actually connected into the graph network of notes that we have. And if I want to explore that further, then I would click on Cloud-Based Studios and I would open that up and remind myself, what did I say? Cloud-Based Studios are now a complete reality using NDI over SRT in the way that BirdDog Cloud does. Really cool software, by the way, if you're interested in that. And open up relevant notes and you'll see that I have this relevant note of Cloud-Based Studios is linked back to Non-Cloud Studios. So I have a one and the other. So I can do it with cloud or I can do it without cloud now. And that is actually a really good jumping off point because of how this is actually gone, because I actually accidentally ended up creating a note that was connected to some of my past notes, I'm going to work on that note for part 2 of this. Remember, part 1 was a new note from scratch. Even if you've never put any notes in your Zettelkasten, we demonstrated that. Part 2 was extending an existing note further. So now that we have 3 notes in our system about streaming, again, I will show you that by going over to my Zettelkasten, and I will search for stream, and you will see that we have non-cloud studio, YouTube streaming, and peer-to-peer data streaming. Peer-to-peer data streaming is actually connected to this, but it's really just not ready for prime time. So from a talking about it, writing about it, I guess that would be interesting. We could do that, but I'm not going to right now. So let's go back to the YouTube streaming note. I want to show you a couple of interesting features here. Now that we have created this, we've created the permanent note. We can click on YouTube streaming. You'll see that this definition field is empty, but remember that we also created relevant notes, and this is super, super important. There are no relevant notes to YouTube streaming. Yes, that's right, because we linked old notes to this new note. Is that what we did? That's interesting. Actually, I thought I would see one in there. Anyways, what I want to show you is that if I click here, what's going on now is that it's taking my permanent note and any related information, in this case there isn't any, and it's going to create a definition for me of YouTube streaming using OpenAI's GPT 3.5 Turbo in this case. This is a feature of the template, okay? So YouTube streaming, oh, hey, I see some people in chat. That's wonderful. Hi, everybody. Hi, Hussam. Hi, Huang. It's really nice to see you. Sorry for the choppy start today. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I'm really excited to see both of you here. Huang, you're amazing on Twitter and in Slack. You're always giving me a thumbs up and liking and retweeting. I can't thank you enough for that. It really means a lot to me. So let's go back here. YouTube streaming refers to the process of broadcasting live video content on the YouTube platform. That's a good definition. Now, here's where it gets fun. What we want to do next is be able to kind of grow from here. So why don't we go back over to the calendar. Again, all notes, I should have said this earlier, all notes, you just do them on your calendar page, right? You don't do them somewhere else. You don't do them in some special contrived place. The Zettelkasten in the Tana system is computed. It is dynamic. This is one of my favorite things about the system. You don't build the Zettelkasten note by note. You do build the Zettelkasten note by note, but when you want to actually look at the Zettelkasten, like in the equivalent of a physical card catalog, that thing is computed on demand for you. That's why every now and then you see those little messages popping in and things. So let's make another note that would probably be related to this one. So again, I'm not going to promise you these are the best notes. In fact, there's no need to remove them, but let's make another permanent note. You saw what I did. I just made an empty note. I have an idea, and I think that what I will say is there are numerous cloud-based, on-demand streaming studios that make live streaming for new creators without live video production backgrounds easy. Totally true. So let's say that's the fleeting note. I think that's actually good enough for a permanent note. So I'm going to go do again like what I did before. And I'm going to make an index term, and we'll call this, do you remember that there's already a cloud-based studio note? So we're going to make this one, we'll make this one cloud-based streaming. Did you see what it did there? I want to do it again. Cloud-based. It remembers that I've got cloud-based studios. Technically, I'm making a note that's the same as that note. It's just a different point of view. I'm actually going to ignore that right now because I want a separate note. So I'm going to call it cloud-based streaming. There could be a future in which I merge those notes. That'd be fine. And again, next step, turn it into an inline reference like this, and then tag it as a term. Control C up here, Control V, oops, go here, Control C, Control V. It doesn't want to do it. Why? Help me out here. Something weird. Node paste on clipboard, large set of nodes. Okay, I love it. Control C, Control V. What in the world? What does this say? Only reference and start of content copy to clipboard, copy full. Something strange there. So let's just try one more time. All right, there's another way to do it. If it won't cut and paste, I don't know why, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Cloud-based streaming works just fine. There's always more than one way to do things in Tana. In fact, there's usually about 10 ways, so prepare for that. Now, so we've got an index term, we've got a brand new note. It's not backlinked to anything, but I want to backlink it to that note we just made. So what I'm going to do is go over to my Zettelkasten. You can see it just popped up, just like you would expect. And I'm going to connect it to this note. So there, and I'm going to connect it to this note. And see here and here. And you know what? Just for grins, I'm going to connect it to this note. I hope you can really get an appreciation for how easy this is. I know it doesn't always seem like it when you're starting, but this kind of becomes second nature once you've done it a little bit. So now what's really exciting is if I go, for example, into non-cloud studio and I look at my relevant notes, cloud-based streaming, that note I just made, which actually, remember, extends another note. I don't know why that says nothing to show there. But it does extend another note, right? Because we have lots of relevant notes there. But it's all connected. And what's going on here? Your changes are being synced. Yeah, so see, I'm having a little bit of weirdness going on here that I'm not quite sure. So we'll just go with that. Next thing I want to show you, though, this is super exciting. And so now what we've done, we did number one. We made a note from scratch. So don't be scared. Number two. We extended that note with a new note and backlinked to it. And in addition to that, we also backlinked that to some pre-existing notes. Our web of notes about streaming has now grown. There are 4 of them, and they're all interconnected in a variety of ways. I'll show you again. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 connections. I wish there was an easy way for me to show you this. If there's not, we've created a graph of nodes, and that graph can be traversed. The way you traverse the graph is through the index terms. The index terms are your friend. So again, if I go to cloud-based streaming and I open the relevant notes, nothing there because that one's acting weird. But if we go to non-cloud studio and we go to relevant notes, we have 3. If I click on YouTube streaming, and I go here, I have 1. If I go to cloud-based streaming, I have nothing. End of the line. This is a natural place where if I want to continue to work on streaming right now, I would go do some research. I would ask some questions. And that is a really good jumping off point. So let's go into this note by opening the permanent note and clicking the little circle. And then let's look at relevant questions. There are no relevant questions here about cloud-based streaming, so maybe you're having a little writer's block or a little questions block. Click this button. This is just, gosh, this is just one of my favorite things about this template. Quick little timeout. If you want this template, I released it. Huang, I know you're out there and you said you'd help me test. If you contact me directly, I got a little something for you. Brave. So let me open up a browser window here and show you. So if you go over to my website which is, this is like a little commercial. Sorry, shameless plug. If you go over to my website and you click on the Tana members area, the way I've decided to release this is just as a small subscription. So as soon as you subscribe and go in, you'll get the big giant link for downloading the template. And I will be doing special content and special stuff over time. Just launched this like 2 days ago, so it's pretty bare bones right now, but it works, and you can go get the template if you want it. Okay, please let me know what you think about all that. It's new. So here we go. While we were waiting for our questions to generate, I showed you that, and here we go. So I cannot tell you how awesome this is. Let's look. What are some examples of cloud-based on-demand streaming studios that cater to new creators? Well, that's a really good question, and it's actually a question I wanted to touch on, and it's the subject of potential future notes, but more importantly, it's the subject of future writing. I can now, with that question in my mind, my 3 notes that are relevant, and possibly that 4th note about IPFS, which is a little techie, but with that note, I can go write an article. So we can do it right here from this one, okay? This would be enough to go and write an article with just 3 interconnected notes in the Zettelkasten. And remember, this Zettelkasten that you're seeing here, I have it filtered down to just stuff about streaming. I've got a couple hundred notes in here across, I don't know how many major subjects, or minor subjects, but I have 3 to 5 major subjects that I'm constantly writing notes about. So you can imagine the beautiful and elegant complexity that's emerged from this process over time. I told somebody the other day, I said, yeah, Zettelkasten's really complex. And they looked at me like that was a bad thing. They said it was a bad thing. It shouldn't be complex. I said, no, it's an emergent complexity. And then they said, well, it's bad if complexity emerges. You want simplicity to emerge. I said, well, simplicity is contextual to the note. And that's what I'm showing you here is a relatively simple context around streaming in a much larger thing that if you want to borrow the second brain type of concept, it starts to look a little bit like a second brain. So what other questions do we get? How do these cloud-based streaming studios simplify the live streaming process? Oh, that's really, again, great question. I'd say that's very relevant to this question. So I might even bring this up here if I'm starting to think about writing. You know, I might combine this, key features and tools, limitations and drawbacks using, I mean, look, it wrote the article for me. How can new creators ensure the quality? Okay. What are the costs associated? And how has the rise of cloud-based streaming studios impacted the live streaming industry? Oh, that's a really interesting question. I hadn't thought about that one too much. Okay. So this is really good. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this and I'm just going to go back over to my day and I'm going to start writing an article. I have another super tag in here for articles, and I am going to say cloud-based studios might be my title. And look, I haven't really done much here. So what I do is I just have the most basic thing you can imagine. It's in process, it's done, it's in process, right? That's it. And I'll just start writing right here. And because of the way that the questions worked, you can see that I've just Control-C, Control-V'd into this article. And now I have sort of an articles that I'm writing. I'm not going to click that right now because I don't remember what all's in there. But this article is now in that list. If I click that search node, it's going to bring it up. So I can always look at the articles I'm writing to see where I was and pick up where I left off. And the next step to create an actual article now is to come in here and start to answer these questions. Okay, so you can even use Tana. I mean, you can even use AI to help you with the next step of this if you're feeling a little lazy. You can just ask AI right there and click that. Cannot run an empty node. Oh, yeah, sorry. Control key, ask. This is a good thing. That could have been a disaster. That's a sane setting. So what it should do now is attempt to answer that question. So let's see, I'm really curious. But this is the process that you can use. I mean, we just did all this. Okay, you know, this article that we're going to post is going to be 100% AI generated because honestly, if I start trying to think through this and stuff live, it's going to be, it's going to take too long for a live stream. So why don't we just go through here and ask AI to help us answer all of these questions. I could do this in one chunk, but I actually just, I want to do it like this. Okay, so we're about to have a pretty good draft of an article. Off screen, I am going to go and open up some sort of an editor. So you can see what's going on there. This is just wacky. We'll just pretend, we'll just go look at Medium. I have a Medium thing. So here, I'll show you. So this is Medium. I don't write over here very often right now, and I do a lot of experimental writing here, so this thing's kind of a mess. But I can start writing an article. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's go back to Tana, and you'll see that every single question now has a boatload of stuff. So I will, quite literally, do this. This will take me just a minute. I have to be like those YouTuber gaming streamers, and you just have to keep talking when you're doing a live stream, because it's expected. So let's keep doing that. Here we go. I've pasted 2 of the notes in. So let's go here. Now listen, I completely acknowledge that this may not be a good article. It's not too surprising given the way I've done this. But it might actually be pretty good. So there we go. I pasted that one without formatting. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but I didn't want all those bullets in here. And then let's go here and grab this one. This is even telling you, gosh, that's really cool. So I'm going to paste this one without formatting also. Come here, and just a very quick as you go kind of thing. It's okay. We're not going to worry too much if this is a beautifully formatted article right now. We can always come back. What are the costs? And then here, last one. How's the rise? Okay, and then we'll do that. And now, last thing, let's go back to our Zettelkasten here. Okay, and what I want to do, I think what the best way to do this is, I don't know. Let me try something. I've not actually tried this, so if I go and I select all of that and I do ask AI to summarize with a compelling summary of the article. And sort of see if it knows what it's doing. Should be interesting. I would expect that to show up down here. What it should have done is take all of that, the questions and the answers, bundle it up. Did that fail? No, it's running. It's doing something. That was a big one. So it should take all of that, bundle it up, compose it into a context, send that prompt up to OpenAI, and I'm hoping come back with a summary for the article. So, okay, let's see, it finished. Let's see if we got anything. We did! Look at that. That's so cool. All right, so in summary, boom. All right, so there we go. And then we would just want to go through and start cleaning this up. Improving how to, we'll call that the how to section. Boom. And maybe concern data privacy and limitations. Keepers told. Okay. Limitations and privacy. That's a good one. We'll do that. I'm going to go check the notes real quick. Amazing. I started. Keep up your awesome work. Oh, thank you, Husam. From where can we find the templates? Oh, yes. Let me post that in the chat. Thank you for asking. I am overly humble sometimes about these things, and I'll show you exactly where it is. Tana members. If you go to this URL that I've just posted in the chat, it would take you to my website. And look, I don't know. I am charging a little bit, and if you want to stay in there, then I'm going to help you. So take a look, read everything I've written there, watch the video. I made a whole video walking you through the template so you can make a very informed decision. There's tons and tons of information here on the website. Let me know what you think. This is brand new. I just launched this a couple of days ago. I worked for 3 months on this template, and I've been building this system for over 3 years. So have a peek. All right, back to Medium. Limitations and privacy. Okay, this is looking really good. So cloud-based streaming in the age of YouTube. There you go. I've just written a new Medium article. Well, I have to give the AI a lot of credit for this one. Here, I'll say written with the help. Written from a Zettelkasten live stream. Call it what it is. As a demo with the help of Tana, OpenAI, and the digital Zettelkasten template. And you can see, I mean, look, this is Medium. I'm not going to teach anybody how to use Medium, but we'll put that there as well. And the rest. All right, so let's put one more introduction. Medium articles flow a lot better when you have these sort of section cuts. So we'll put that in. All right, let's see. I haven't proofread this, so there could be weird stuff in here. There could be duplicated stuff, but again, I use this Medium blog very much in an experimental way. Let's see, so I might, if I wanted to be a little promotional, what's this? I don't need this. If I might say, interested in the digital Zettelkasten, watch this video to learn more, right? So I can input a horizontal. Did they have that here? What is this? Add a new part. I thought there was like a little line connector thingy. Image. Okay, yeah, that's right. Just the little dots. So we go here. I can go and find the link to this video over on YouTube. Let me go find it. Cancel. Oh, we're doing good. We're only 9 minutes out. It was a bit of a disaster to start this thing today, but it seems like we might make it. Let's see. So I'm going to get the link here, get shareable link to the video, and I will insert media. Nope. I will insert a YouTube video just like that. Beautiful. Fix my grammar. Thank you, Grammarly. And yet another AI. I got AIs all over the place. All right, so there you go. That's it. That's what we said we would do. We reviewed the digital Zettelkasten template. We used it to create a note. The note we created was this one originally. We created one called YouTube streaming. Then later we created another note called cloud-based streaming. We connected all of those notes. I use this screen more than any to do that. We explored some of the AI features today around, I think this one. No, we used this one. So let's go back in there. You see, we made all of these questions came from that. Then we took all of that. That was really cool. Like, I'm actually kind of really happy how this turned out. And we made an article, all right? An article that's now, actually, we're going to go and mark it done. Yeah, watch this. It's published. Let's see. Let's add streaming. Let's see. Watch this. This is going to come like my most popular article ever, and I didn't even write it. Oh, I should have added an image. Let me watch this. Okay, hang on. This is fun. Here, let's do ask AI creative. Nope, can't do that. Generate an image of a stream made out of binary data. Show you Dolly. Yeah. There you go. That's in here too, because this is tied to OpenAI, and that's an OpenAI thing. We'll see if this picture that we get back is any good. Hang on. We're going to use it no matter what, because I'm only going to do this once. Oh my gosh, that is, I wish I hadn't said that just now. Save image as. Okay, well, we're going with it. Cancel folder. Let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, that didn't work. So how do I get this image out? Let's see. Well, let's just try it this way. Include a high quality image. Let's go back. Here's my article. Boy, that is not pretty. But we're going with it. All right, here we go. Look at that. Woo! Cloud-based streaming in the age of YouTube. Streaming, publish now. Boom. This article is live. We did it. It is 55 after the hour. I'm going to post a link to this article in the chat. Why not? Here you go. I used to pay for Medium. I'm not currently paying, so I don't know what all features and stuff are in there. But here is the article we just created. So the whole point to having a Zettelkasten, let's wrap this up, is to think, right? Is to think and to think about your thinking, and crucial to connect those notes, right? To connect all those notes together. And if you do that, then you get the benefit, especially with these new AI tools, of being able to produce more content from the content you've produced, and especially the content you've linked. Remember, because I linked all those notes, when I generated those questions, it will look at all of the things that are relevant to that entire permanent note. The questions is really interesting because it uses the entire context of the permanent note, including relevant notes. Now, in the example I did, there were no relevant notes, which, sorry about that. But actually, I can show you. If I go to cloud-based, is it this one? Okay, not that one. No, we did a good one. We did one that actually had relevant notes. So this is magic. Like, the whole thing, and the way the whole thing works is worth this. When you're connecting the notes later, and then you come in and you generate some questions, whether you do it with your mind or you get the AI to help you, you're generating those new questions based on the permanent note itself and all the relevant notes that you took the time to link. Your brain linked those things up. And that is a magic connection, because now, over time, as your Zettelkasten evolves, if I decided in 5 minutes from now that I'd like to write an article about regenerative agriculture, I happen to have a lot of information in my Zettelkasten about regenerative practice. This is how I would do it. I would find my most interesting note. I would look at all of its relevant notes. I would start generating questions and I would start answering questions. Then I would probably go one step further. I didn't do it in this one, but let me show you. Let's go back. I gotta show you this. Streaming, relevant notes, cloud-based streaming. So let's go into the YouTube streaming permanent note right here. You see, I've got these questions that I wrote myself. This is really fun. I wrote those, but there's a little feature here. Shift-click to append, so I can actually append my own questions. And remember, it's going to use my questions as part of the context for generating questions, as well as the permanent note itself and the relevant notes that it's aware of. And that's really, really cool. So shift-click to append. If you just click it, it replaces your questions. You can always Command Z, don't worry, or Control Z, but if I do shift-click, now I'm going to generate more relevant questions about this entire context of this entire permanent note. And again, this is all part of that template. So you want to check that out. It is 9:59. I'm going to end this stream on time. I'm so grateful for those of you that came and watched live and for all of you who might watch later. Thank you so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it. And I have no idea what I'm going to stream next, but I'll be trying to do a live stream once a week. So there you go. Lots more questions came up. What factors contribute to a YouTube creator's success in increasing watch time through regular streaming? See, this is something I'm working on, and so super relevant to me. I watched a bunch of videos this week. I'm not ready to write an article about it, but you know, this is just part of the journey. So without further ado, I'm going to wrap up this stream. Where is my encoder? So I'm going to come back here full frame. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Hello and goodbye. Really, really had a great time doing that today. My name is Kent Langley, and this was Digital Zettelkasten for Tana, a demonstration of how to do it, how it works. That was really fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. Here, look, I'll even give us some fireworks to wrap up the show. Do we have them? Where are they? Where's my fireworks? Here we go. Fireworks. Boom. Yay. Okay. That's it. We're all done. Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are.